Alright everyone, here we are for round 1 of the Classic Invitational. We are paired up against Scorpio, of course. I always seem to have to get through Scorpio. It's a small tournament, there's only 15 players, so it was pretty likely that we would end up playing him, but certainly was not looking forward to playing him in round 1. But nonetheless, here we are. This hand is pretty terrible. 6 lands, even with the ponder, is just bad. So I am going to mulligan this. And this hand is significantly better, so I'm going to keep this. So let's see. Scorpio is alright, so I'm going to definitely counter that. So he's running a Delver deck. I don't think that there's anything really out of the ordinary with it, but definitely a turn 1 Delver is something we don't want to see. So I'm going to play out this Flooded Strand and pass the turn. So his deck has Sowers of Temptations, as well as 4 mana drains, so it should be an interesting match to say the least. So right now I'm just going to play an island and pass a turn. So I think we might be getting a Jace here. And we certainly are. So I'm going to try and mana drain this. I think I want to get a Tundra. He has only a strip mine. He doesn't have any wasteland, but he is playing back to basics. So I'm gonna play this Tundra just to be on the safe side. Alright, so we didn't draw anything to use this mana drain mana on, but I'll just play this island and pass the turn. It's unfortunate, but sometimes that's the way it works. Alright, Spell Snare is not too terrible. I'll take that. But we still don't need to do anything at this point. Another Delver. I'm going to hard cast this. No sense in taking damage when we don't need to. Alright, another mana drain will help. So it looks like he's not going to do anything either. So we're both sitting here kind of in a draw-go situation. I want to get this Jace, but I have almost no confidence that it will actually land. It'd be nice to have a Force of Will to back it up, but we don't. So I'm going to just keep passing the turn here. I mean, there's certainly an argument to be made to play the Jace, but like I said, I think it's too risky right now with him. I mean, he can hard cast a Force of Will, even if that's the only card in his hand, which is highly unlikely at this point. Krakus is okay. The Krakus does allow us to play the Jace through a mana drain. but I still don't think we want to try and risk that right now. Here comes another Jace, so we're going to actually, I think what I'm going to do is Snapcaster first, because that gives us a threat on the board. And if he tries to mana drain this, we can spell snare the mana drain, which is exactly what happened. So unless he has a force of will, we're in good shape. Alright, so we are in good shape here. So we know he doesn't have a force. We're going to have some mana to cast our own Jace, and we just so happen to land the one thing we needed to protect our Jace. So I am going to brainstorm here. I'm going to put back the Swords to Plowshares, and I'll put a Ponder back for this turn. And I'm going to start beating down with Snapcaster Mage here. So we're in pretty good shape. We got 2 counter spells here to try and stop him from playing his spells. Alright, so next turn we have a Ponder coming up. That might be worthwhile to drain this. Gives us some extra mana next turn in case something was to happen. Alright, so he spell snared our Silver Temptation. I don't think we really have any choice but to force that. Unfortunately, we are out of cards right now. But like I said, we do have Ponder coming up here. So we got a few good cards on our top of our deck here. Stoneforge Mystic will come in handy. Demonic Tutor could be nice too. I think the last one I want is a Swords. Well, actually, the Demonic Tutor is probably the one I want the least. I want to protect. I want a way to protect Jace. So maybe I do this. Do you want to shuffle my library? No, I do not. Nope, you can have that land. Alright, so we're in a decent position here. Interestingly enough, we've gotten this far into the game and neither of us have cast Brainstorm. Alright. Yeah, I think continuing to control the top of his deck. I want to put that on the bottom of the library. And I think I can play around the Force of Will now that I know that he has it. Okay. That's fair. So he's going to try and counter the Stoneforge Mystic, which, fortunately for us, is going to land. going to have to swords that, since I know he's going to have a force of will next turn. I don't want to risk losing out on that chance there. Oh. So he used the Misty Rainforest to remove the top card of his library. So he's going to brainstorm. That's going to help him pretty well. He's going to be able to dig 3 cards deep, and he has 4. He's got 8 mana. He would go down pretty low in life, but he's got an opportunity to do some things here. Let's see if he finds something. Okay, so he didn't use his mana. That's somewhat of a good sign. There's our demonic tutor. So I'm going to play this underground sea. Yeah, I don't have anything that really can cost double white. Yeah, I can bait out another counter spell. So I'm doing this now before I attack, because if he has a Snapcaster Mage, yeah, I'd rather him cast it now, so that I know he has it, and he doesn't swoop in and destroy my Snapcaster Mage in combat. So I guess at this point, continue controlling the top of his deck is probably the best plan. Mental Misstep, that's fine. It's not a threat. So I'm comfortable with him keeping that card. So just have to hold out for 2 more turns. And he's got another Brainstorm. That's a problem. So if he finds a Sower Temptation, I'm in trouble. Well, he didn't, so that is good for me. So he brainstormed to put 2 cards on the top of his library. It's probably... I might want to brainstorm here. I mean, it seems kind of ridiculous. Actually, no, I need 2 more turns, so I actually need some cards. That's kind of my problem right now. Alright, so I get a swords and 2 lands that I don't need. So I'm going to try and get rid of this thing now. And a Mental Misstep that I knew he had. Alright. Oh, I'll run it out there. If he has force, he has force. Alright, he does not. Alright, I think we may have pulled it out with that timely brainstorm. Sol Ring, you can have that. So we'll tack him down to 4. So we've got 2 turns here for both Jace and True Name Nemesis to win this game. I think we're in pretty good shape. Back to basics, you can have that. So it's going to go down to 1. And we got the good game. Alright, so we take game 1 against the Delver Back to Basics deck. So, looking at the sideboard, there is absolutely no cards that I want to bring in. The only thing that I could bring in is Leyline Sanctity to prevent his Jace from fate sealing me. But beyond that, there is very little I could even potentially think about bringing in. So the question is, are these 3 cards better than any cards that I have in my deck? And I don't think that is the case. I think all of these cards are pretty good, so I'm going to just submit this deck as is. Okay, our opening hand is not too great. He mulliganed as well, so I am going to pitch that. This hand is a lot better. It's not perfect, but I'm going to keep it. I don't have anything to counter anything on his first turn, which is unfortunate, but he may have lucked out. He didn't have anything. So let's play this Flooded Strand and pass the turn. Alright, so he did get his 1 strip mine. So we're going to have to be a little careful here. He can't mana drain us though, which is interesting. Makes me want to try and jam this Stoneforge Mystic. He could have a Spell Snare. He does have 4 in his deck. So noting that, I think I would prefer to not try my luck. It worked out pretty well for me in the first game, so I'm going to continue with being a little conservative here. So Scorpio is thinking here. He hasn't played a land yet. I wonder if he didn't draw into any. Oh, Cavern of Souls. Alright, so he brought that in out of the sideboard, huh? 1 Cavern of Souls. They named Cephalid. Aha. Well, that is not nice at all. He's got a Loan. So that's his tech against True Name Nemesis, I guess. Alright, another fetch land. I'll take that and play it out over the strip mine here. So Loan costs 4. So maybe next turn he will cast that. In response, I will turn around and Supreme Verdict it. Oh, maybe I won't. He's got no way to get cards out of my hand unless he has a Vendilion click, at which point I could brainstorm. I'm going to brainstorm now. It's a little bit of a risk, but I want to see if I can get some protection for my Stoneforge Mystic, which is exactly what I did. Plus I have the swords to remove his cards. So we're in a pretty good spot here. I'm going to grab a basic plains. And I'm going to try and Stoneforge Mystic here. So he did have a spell snare. I'm going to mana drain this. Get a Tundra. Put myself at a little bit of a risk to the Strip Mine, getting rid of one of my white sources for the Supreme Verdict, but at this point I'm not sure Supreme Verdict is what I want to be doing. I think I would much rather just Stoneforge Mystic. So he's going down to one card. Oh no, I countered the wrong spell. Oh, that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. I misclicked on the wrong spell. Alright, well, this is probably going to be a loss now. Unfortunately, something like that would never happen in paper. I tried to get cute and click on one of the earlier spells, but I ended up countering my own spell. That was really, really bad. Alright, we're going to need some serious help here. Polluted Delta is not the help I was looking for. Alright, let's see. Swords of Plowshares doesn't really help either. Alright, so we got the double blue we needed to cast a bunch of his spells. Silent doesn't really help us at all. We've got all the land we really need at this point, although it does threaten hard casting of a forced, so I guess that's something he has to respect. So I can hard cast a Jeet. Might as well try. So we got that out. It's not too bad. So we got a click coming. A Jace. Alright. So nothing I can do about that. Alright, so he's going to go straight for the Fate Seal, huh? Let's see what he does. It's a card on the bottom. Alright. A mental misstep. It doesn't really help me too much. It's a little late. Maybe some threats here to go with my Jeet. Alright, so he's going to brainstorm here. That's interesting. So still a little bit of a draw go while we both try and sculpt our hands. Yeah, Island is really not helping me. I'm just gonna keep that in my back pocket for now. I'd rather him respect the fact that I have 4 cards in my hand than, so we put another card on the bottom, so that's not always fun to see. A spell snare is not helping me. So we'll just play this island now. So put a card on the top. I have no choice now but to crack this polluted delta. I'm going to go get an underground sea since it doesn't matter. And there's my true name nemesis. So at this point I have no choice but to cast it. I assume he has 4 counter spells in his hand, but I have to try. So he knows that I have the spell snare. So he must be just trying to get rid of that. And so he has a mental misstep, and so do I. At this point, life doesn't mean anything, so I'm going to misstep his misstep. I imagine we're getting another misstep here. A Snapcaster Mage, okay. Same thing. This game is pretty much over, so I am going to just concede here. There was really little hope for me to catch up after that colossal misclick. That was pretty bad. So definitely want to play first. This is a keepable hand, I suppose. He kept his 7-2. So I'm going to put out his delta and pass the turn. Just kind of have to cross my fingers that he doesn't have a turn 1 Delver, and it doesn't look like he does, so that's good. Another Chase, huh? Alright. not even sure that is really a problem. This Delver's Secrets. Next turn I can try and jam True Name Nemesis. It'd take me 3 more turns to get True Name Nemesis back up. It might be too late by then, so I think I almost have to mana drain this. I have an island and a swamp, so I don't need anything. Alright, so we get a Ponder. Oh, that was a mistake. I should have... should have played the Underground Sea. That way I could Ponder first, and then... yeah, that was a mistake. I should have played the Underground Sea so that I could Ponder and see if I can find a Force of Will to protect this True Name Nemesis. I think now I almost have to just Ponder and see what I get. This might get misstepped anyway. And it doesn't. So I do get a Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see, I don't want the Flooded Strand. I'll take the Brainstorm and I will not shuffle. See if I can get this to stick. Fortunately, it is pretty good Spell Snare bait, but it does eat a Force of Will. So that might help me. So I got 1 Force of Will out of his hand. Let's give it a whirl, see if it sticks. And it does. That's pretty good. So we have a Brainstorm to dig for a Force of Will if we are in need of getting something. So we are in pretty good shape here. So this will take 6 more turns. We'll have to see if we can last that long. So the reason I didn't play Jace last turn, even though I mana to play Jace and Brainstorm, is because if I Brainstorm into mana drain, I can still counter a spell. So that it gives me it makes more cards live than what otherwise would have been possible for me if I had just played Jace. So maybe he's going to try and race me. I'm okay with Delver's Secrets. It's not really endangering me. The second Delver's Secrets, though, that could be pretty bad. That I might actually need to cast Brainstorm and see if I can dig into something. So I can Snapcaster into a Mana Drain. Don't need both Jaces. I'm going to get a Tundra. Alright, so we got rid of one. So he's going to try and back to basics me here. I don't really care. So, Force of Will. Let's see, how much mana do I gotta get? One, huh? Alright. So I'm gonna attack with both of these guys. Still have 2 more turns, but we do have a Force of Will and a Jace. Sword of Temptation. I won't let that one happen. Flooded Strand, I'll just keep that in my hand. So he has 1 more turn here. I think we might have got there. Alright, we did. Alright, so we won the match. On to round 2.